coming up on this week's travel show. I know they said I'm not going to feel the cold, but I'm really nervous about my body going into some kind of shock once I get in the water. It's an icy plunge for me in the French Alps. We have some chairlift speed dating in the US. Fancy learning how to cook tentacles and suckers? We have a special family recipe of couscous.
Tous les moments heureux et malheureux finalement dans la vie, il y a toujours un couscous, c'est vraiment la tradition qui rassemble.
And we meet one lady making waves in the Canary Islands.
Mi vida se dedica un poco a eso, a perseguir el viento por el mundo.
The ski season is now in full swing in the Northern Hemisphere. And so far, the snowfall has been somewhat unpredictable. I'm in Tignes, a ski resort in the French Alps. It's part of the Espace Killy ski area and home to the Grande Motte Glacier, which rises to a whopping 3,450 metres. Despite the resort's high altitude, like many others, it had to delay the start of its season by a couple of weeks due to lack of snow. Across the world, global warming is shortening the ski season and starting to seriously affect the economy for lower resorts. I'm ready. It may be hard to believe given recent heavy snowfall in Europe, but the bigger picture is looking bleak. The charity, Protect Our Winters, has been collecting data from climate scientists around the world, all with similar predictions. By 2050, the Alps could see a reduction in snow by more than 40%. Warren Smith is an ambassador for the charity.
So Lucy, tell me about your skiing background. What have you done so far?
I'm still very much in plough territory.
Plough.
He's also an international ski coach based in the Alps.
Here we go.
Make you change direction. Good, Lucy.
I've noticed a massive difference, especially in the last 25 years that we've been doing it, of the glaciers retreating, the glaciers getting smaller. In the winters, our winter season's getting shorter. You know, they used to start in November very comfortably, and now sometimes we're lucky if they start in December.
Push on the left ski.
The other thing that's quite scary and is actually really apparent right now is because of these extreme changes in the temperatures that we're seeing. So, you know, you can have a snowfall in January, it could be minus 15, 16, and, you know, 4 or 5 days later, it could be plus 10. Yeah. And what this does to the snowpack, it really weakens the way that the snow bonds together. And we've seen a big rise in the amount of avalanches.
Excellent.
Makes free riding for me as a free skier a lot more risky, and obviously for everybody else trying that.
Here in Tignes, the resort has been making plans to ensure its future. And one ambitious project is to open an indoor ski dome by the Grande Motte Glacier. These artist impressions show what it will look like in the winter and also in the summer to guarantee year-round skiing no matter the weather. In addition, Tignes recently opened the world's first high-altitude cable car roof terrace. It's part of a multi-million-euro project called the Altitude Experience, designed to promote the beauty of the Vanoise National Park and encourage off-season visitors. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Well, I'm giving my ski legs a rest.
Nice to meet you, Lucy. I'm there.
To try something a little bit different.
Okay.
Yes, that is a mask and regulator.
We're going to start by this little briefing.
I've been persuaded into ice diving.
So once you're inside, we seal everything and you're completely protected by the water.
For this, I'll be wearing a dry suit.
I'm going to put some talc inside so the head can go easily into the protection. And when you can... Oops. Look up. It's a girl.
It's definitely a complicated process getting ready, which is just adding to my nerves.
And you're sealed.
Well, the good news is I can't feel how cold it is out here, so... The lake I'll be diving into is right in the ski village of Teen Le Lac, just a stone's throw from the lifts. The more I stare at that icy abyss, the more I just want to just dip my foot in just to get a taste of or a feel for how cold it is. I know they said I'm not going to feel the cold, but I'm really nervous about my body going into some kind of shock once I get in the water. I'm sure it'll be fine, but my mind is currently in overdrive. I just want to get in now.
You're in? Perfect.
Dan will be staying above the ice, helping me and another instructor go under. It's not an activity you can do as a group, rather one person at a time with an instructor for safety reasons.
Okay. And we rotate into the water now.
Oh God. My initial worries of freezing to death quickly went away.
Perfect. Bye-bye.
But it didn't quite go to plan, and I had to surface. So my mask started to fill with water, and I started to panic, so I was like, out! After a little reminder about what to do, namely don't panic, I was mentally prepped for another go. So I'm ready to go back in. I was only down there for, I don't know, maybe a minute or so, but it's so pretty down there, and just being able to kind of touch all the bubbles under the ice is really cool.
Okay.
This time my mask stayed put, but we decided not to stray too far from the ice hole, and my confidence returned. It's an otherworldly experience under the ice, cut off from the noise and distractions above. And it's surprisingly relaxing. Only towards the end did my toes and fingers start to tingle a little, but otherwise the dry suit really did keep the cold out. For the really daring, it's possible to also free dive. Probably not for me though. I much prefer having the oxygen tank. Well, if you're eager to experience something a bit different on the mountains this winter, we've rounded up some events we think you should consider. The grand finale of the Freeride World Tour is taking place in Verbier in March. It's considered the hardest freeride competition on the planet, and it's quite a spectacle for visitors. This is certainly not for the faint-hearted. For something on the other end of the spectrum, it seems chairlift speed dating is the latest trend to hit the slopes in North America. On February 10th, Afton Alps in Minneapolis and Wilmot Mountain in Wisconsin are giving skiers and snowboarders the chance to meet their soulmate. Matchmaking agencies pair the love seekers based on compatibility, and if you're not interested, you simply ski your separate ways after reaching the top of the mountain. Complimentary hair and makeup touch-ups are even on offer to help you deal with your helmet hair post-slopes. And if you can't make it to the US in February, never fear. Snowbombing in Austria offers a similar opportunity. The self-proclaimed greatest show on snow, it takes place in Meerhofen in Austria towards the end of Europe's ski season. Complete with igloo raves, enchanted forests and mountain yoga, big-name artists will also be part of the lineup to perform. Oh, and did I mention you can also sign up for chairlift speed dating? And finally, if getting to Canada is possible for you, the Whistler World Ski and Snowboard Festival takes place over 5 days in April. Over 10,000 people are expected to watch top snow athletes at the big air ski and snowboard competitions. But it's the slush cup pool that's the standout feature of this festival. Participants have to skim across the ice-cold water. Madness. And if all that has made you hungry, we are back in France, where its capital city has become a melting pot of culinary delights. We're heading to Tunisia, a restaurant in Paris, for a recipe that's all a bit fishy. Or is it?
When I decided to open a restaurant in Paris, it was obvious that I wanted to make everyone know the couscous of my mom, the Tunisian couscous, because in Tunisia it's very known to eat couscous with fish. And in my father's city, fact, it's the octopus couscous.
Je vais vous montrer comment on fait le couscous maintenant. Voilà, là je lave et je découpe le poulpe. Donc pour qu'il reste tendre, on retire juste le petit peu là. Donc je mets mon poulpe, je le refais venir un petit peu dans l'oignon. Ensuite je vais mettre mes épices. Alors vous avez le cumin, le curcuma, le ras el hanout, le piment doux, poivre et sel.
Everyone knows the Moroccan and Algerian couscous. Tunisian couscous is quite different because it's more spicy and you have more tomato, and it's a very light couscous.
Une fois qu'on a mis tous les épices, alors je mets les légumes, carottes et navets. Ensuite les pois chiches. Là je vais laisser cuire. Ensuite il faut travailler la semoule. Entre les deux mains, pour qu'il n'y ait pas de grumeaux. Donc là, je vais pouvoir la mettre dans mon couscoussier pour la laisser cuire à la vapeur. Je vérifie la cuisson du poulpe, donc il ne faut pas trop le faire cuire, ni pas assez, c'est caoutchouteux. Là, ça me semble bon. Ensuite, je prends 3 ou 4 louches de bouillon que je vais verser sur ma semoule. Je vais laisser poser. Je fais goûter ma fille aussi, il faut que ça lui plaise.
Tous les moments heureux et malheureux finalement dans la vie, il y a toujours un couscous, c'est vraiment la tradition.
Qui rassemble.
C'est pour ça que c'est le plat des mariages, des fêtes.
Voilà, des deuils, de tout. Donc voilà, une assiette dressée de couscous au poulpe, terminée. Et je vous souhaite bon appétit.
Still to come on the travel show. Simon has his latest tips on travelling in Europe. And we're in the Canary Islands to find out why it's the perfect training ground for kite surfing. So stay with us for that.
Hello from a breezy Mediterranean in winter. This week I've advice on rail travel in Central Europe and where to find Greek life as it used to be. First though, the year in the sun has begun for Europe's 2 capitals of culture. Matera in Italy is a joyful Baroque town on the surface, but wander more deeply and you discover that the ground falls away to reveal a picture book village that's burrowed its way into a hillside. And the other capital of culture, Plovdiv in Bulgaria, is a great place to visit in winter to look at its ancient foundations and then combine it with some excellent skiing in the Rhodope Mountains. Next, Sabelo Dlamini contacted us from Eswatini, the southern African nation previously known as Swaziland. He wants to know:
my wife and I want to travel between cities in Europe through some stunningly beautiful scenery by rail, starting in Vienna. What's the best route?
Vienna is an excellent place to begin a journey through the great railways of Central Europe. Take a train to Prague through deep valleys and across high moorland for an intense sensation of 19th century Europe. Then onwards to Dresden in Germany, a city that's revived splendidly after Second World War destruction and decades of Soviet domination. Go east towards Poland via Wrocław to Krakow, and after a day or two in this fascinating city, one of Europe's increasingly rare but wonderful night trains awaits to whisk you through the darkness to Vienna. Kay Viney tweeted to ask,
where would you consider is still old-fashioned Greece? I'm thinking men sitting all day at tables with ouzo and proper authentic tavernas.
Kay, this needs some deep Greek knowledge, so I've called in some expert advice.
You can find old-fashioned Greece even in popular places like the island of Lesbos. In the villages of Aiassos, Assomatos and Vatousa, you will find old men drinking ouzo in the cafenio and talking with their friends and playing bagamon. Another option is the island of Crete, where you can find villages where the time stands still. For example, the villages around the Amari area. I hope you can visit them soon.
Finally, Joe Smith from Ireland is heading for the US in the spring. He's flying into Chicago and out from Boise, Idaho, and he wants to rent a car between the two. But he says he's stumped by
the additional one-way fee, which is practically the same as the initial rental fee.
Joe, car rental companies in Europe impose high fees if you want to drop a car off in a different country, and the same applies in America if you want to leave it in a different state. For drop-offs in adjacent states such as Florida and Georgia, usually the one-way fee is modest, but it can increase sharply for longer journeys. So I suggest that to cut the cost, you use the excellent California Zephyr train between Chicago and Salt Lake City. It's an enthralling day-and-a-half journey, and if you like, you can stop off after the first night in Denver and pick up a subsequent train. From Salt Lake City in Utah, you can rent a car and take it north across the Idaho state line to Boise and pay a drop-off fee of only $100, at least according to the test booking I made on your behalf. That's all for now, but do keep sending me your travel problems and I'll do my best to find you solutions. See you soon.
Finally, we're in Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands, where one woman is making waves in the international kite surfing scene. She shows us why her home is the perfect training ground for the sport.
Supongo que elegí un estilo de vida un poco diferente a los demás. Elegí dejar la universidad y irme a perseguir el viento, a competir, a entrenar. Como kitesurfista profesional, mi vida se dedica un poco a eso, a perseguir el viento por el mundo. La sensación de poder ser capaz de surcar el mar gracias a la fuerza del viento es totalmente única y creo que todo el mundo debería probarlo, ¿no? Después de haber visto vientos de todo el mundo, playas de todo el mundo, te das cuenta que las condiciones que tenemos en casa son de las mejores que hay en el mundo. Ya no solo por el viento, sino por la temperatura del aire, por lo limpia que están las playas, lo limpia que está el agua. Bueno, este es el pueblo de Morrojable. Aquí es donde nací y he vivido casi toda mi vida. La duna que veis ahí al fondo es donde venía a tirarme con mis amigos. Como podéis ver, hay un montón de hoteles, es una isla bastante turística, pero también hay otra Fuerteventura y es la que vamos a intentar ir a buscar hoy. Fuerteventura tiene un montón de caras, no es solo el turismo y las playas desiertas, también tiene la montaña y los barrancos, tenemos también zonas de verde, playas negras, playas de roca. la rodillera la uso porque me rompí el ligamento anterior cruzado haciendo kite. El kite al final está considerado deporte de riesgo y la modalidad que hago yo, estamos todo el día pegando saltos, aterrizando súper duro. Sí, es bastante lesivo porque es un deporte muy explosivo. Me gustaría ser como una imagen y que la gente pudiese darse cuenta de que si yo puedo, ellos también, que no es que sea un deporte elitista o que nacer en un pueblo como Rojable no te impide ser grande o hacer grandes resultados, ¿no? Que al final con esfuerzo puedes conseguirlo.
Well, that's all for this week, but coming up next week. Krista takes a peek at the back of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris to discover fallen pinnacles and gargoyles. And she meets those trying to save it.
Within 10 years, we could have the cathedral completely down if we were to do nothing.
And in the meantime, don't forget you can follow us on social media. The links are on our website. But for now, from me, Lucy Hedges, and the rest of the Travel Show team, it's goodbye.